Okay, so we need to build a bar. Well, maybe that's not the right way to put it. We need to put together a bar for the Super Pro 125. And as I mentioned in the unboxing video, I picked up this 36-inch Husky bar on eBay at a screaming deal, knowing it was pretty well torched, but that I could fix it. So what we're going to do for starters is we're going to make it fit the Super Pro 125, because Husky uses a 9mm mount, at least on this variation of saw, and a 125 uses a 3/8. So it'll just slip over the threads at the tip a little bit and then start to try and bung them up. So we need to widen the slot. The other thing to keep in mind is that McCulloch loves to use a system where they oil up through the adjuster hole. Okay? So there's two different variations that I have seen used on a 125. One set actually has a very narrow adjuster hole like this, and then another oil hole drilled above it. Others just have a slightly elongated, like this 1010 bar, so that the groove is actually cut down into there and it can oil up through that adjuster hole. That's probably the style we're going to go for here. Now, we're fortunate that we have the original bar, so we can just throw it on top of there and do some markings. And actually, we don't want to throw it on top, we want it to be underneath. So let me get this lined up and then I'll bring the camera over and I'll show you guys some of what I'm doing here. For starters, that's how we're going to go. I will try to make this as smooth of a transition as possible. Okay. So that's the new bar laid over top the old one. You can see the new bar has some significant wear and probably wasn't the same shape. This is probably, the original bar was probably much fatter. But you can see the slot on the Husky bar is a little longer. We should be good. The tail is lining, it's close. You know, we're about 3/16 of an inch there. So I don't have any worries about that. The adjuster holes should work. I should not have to mess with enlarging those in order to move them to make the adjuster work. So let me flip this. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Better than I expected. So there's kind of what it looks like from the other side. So we can see barely down in there. Yep, that needs to go a little closer to the the center slot, and we need to come up just a little bit. I mean, those are elongated, so the easiest way to do this is to make yourself a little something to work with. And we're just going to shade the area that we want to file out. And I hope I'm not ruining my pen right now. And I'm basically going to go a pen's width, because that's what my eyeball was saying down there. And then for widening the slot, what I'm going to do, that slot is long enough, I think I can get away with using a disc on my angle grinder and just do a couple quick passes in there. After that, what we need to do is clean this bar up and really smooth that out a little bit so that when we go to the bar shop, we're not working with any teeter-totter surfaces. So, I'll get this stuff in the vise, and we'll come back. Okay. So I'm just using a 1/4-inch file because I don't file that much huge chain. Okay. Not perfect, but it's to the depth that I want. Now, there's no reason for you guys to watch this even on fast forward. I'll get the rest of these filed out and we'll come back. Okay. We're there. You see, they're not the most perfect in the world, but if you take your time and work from side to side, you can get them looking decent. Now, note that my little dental pick is going in. We uncovered on both top and bottom the bottom of the bar groove. So, that means she'll oil. Now, do I have it chunk? This is 63 gauge 3/8. Drivers ought to be the same depth, alright? So we can see they haven't bottomed out anywhere, and we can't see them coming through the adjuster hole. If we could, this bar, I mean, we know it's not in great shape, but it would be really not in great shape. If your drive links are coming through there, you're pretty much on your last legs. Now that should mean that I can use this bar for as much as I intend to and not have a problem. I am going to groove it on the Barshop, and you guys will see that. But let's go ahead and see if we can widen this slot out a little bit. And I'm just going to use a standard cutoff wheel and reach in there gently, well, because that's what's in the angle grinder, and I think I can get away with it. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, that's just a guess. Not quite. And actually this bar tail, oh, that's what it is. Okay. That's what it is. The strap right there isn't quite deep enough, so we need to file that out. The rest of this looks like it might go on, but until we get that filed out, won't know for certain. It's awful tight to that drum. I could just cut the back out. Would probably be faster. But we'll see. Always feels like it should have done more than it actually does. Ah. We're there. We are there. There's enough movement there, and I can get that on and off without bunging up the threads. Oh, I got crap falling down behind me. There we go. Okay. This rust is in pretty pitted here. I don't know how I want to deal with that. If I go at it with an angle grinder, it's going to leave swirl marks. I may see if I have a... I may hit it on the bench grinder. Whatever. I'm going to do some cleanup work on this off camera. I think we can all figure out how to remove old paint and rust. We'll come back. Okay, the side with the rust was pretty easy to get wire wheeled off. The side without as much rust, I borrowed a trick from, I'm going to mispronounce this, Ulagaha. It's a city in Oklahoma. There's a channel on here on YouTube. Mike's got a collection just as varied as mine, and he's got some saws I would love to have, and probably vice versa. Anyway, he sands everything when he's getting ready to prep for paint. He doesn't like the media blasting. So on this bar, I chose to do the same thing. It wasn't worth the time to set up a blaster. Okay, we're going to drill the rivets out of this tip and get it off. I have the luxury of having some new rivets over there. They are 3/16. Thankfully, these rivets are already punched in the middle, so I'm just going to come here to the drill press, and we will see if we can't drill these things out. And I'm not going to go all the way through the bar. I don't need to waste a drill bit on that. If I can just get the heads to basically come loose, we'll punch them out. But not like that. Either that drill bit's not centered in the chuck, or it's bent. That would piss me off. Let's try that again. Better, but I think that bit might be a slight bit bent. Let's see if it still cuts. Go a little bit more. That should be enough. We'll try tapping that one out. Real sucko if I picked the wrong size, wouldn't it? I'm going to borrow this 2x4 to support this. And that's what I want to do, is support it on all ends so it's not bouncing all over the place, and I don't need to be trying to control it as we try to tap those things out. And this should be... Yep, alright, let's see what happens. I guess I could go back and go with a bigger drill bit. Now that I've already drilled that one, I prefer not to. That worked. That worked great. That worked even better. And that worked the bestest. Right. Okay, so you can see actually, I can't see in the viewfinder. There we go. Not too bad. That went exactly the way we wanted it to. We were drilling basically into the center of the rivet. Man, I'll tell you, that is the power of a drill press right there. Yes, you can do it on a regular drill, but... Okay, so the tip should come out that easy. Worst case scenario, you put the tip in the vise, and you put a screwdriver or something at the back of the tail slot, and you just tap it that way. This tip, the reason I wanted to replace it, you see the the dive that it makes right there, it's not straight. If I'm going to go to all this trouble, I want the tip to at least be in good shape. So I'm going to go get the Barshop set up with a 63 gauge wheel, and we will come back. Okay, got it all set up. I had to test it out and make sure that I wasn't gonna, that I had everything shimmed right and I wasn't gonna, you know, jam it up, explode the wheel, jam the bar, shoot it through the back of my pickup, you know, any of that stupid stuff. So before we groove this other side, one of my channel viewers and customers, Charlie, pointed out, I think the last time I ground a bar, he's like, hey, if it's got a bunch of wear and you don't take it off of the edge first, those first couple passes that you take, especially on the other side, are, well, on either side, it doesn't matter, are going to be off kilter, which is absolutely true. And I actually like to groove before I grind the rails flat, because that way if I make any kind of a mistake here as I'm grinding, I can take it off. I'm not screwing up a fresh surface. But this bar was so jacked up that I did exactly what he suggested, which was take it and get that edge off. So I just went to my bench grinder and just did a pass at an angle about like that. Real shallow or steep, however you want to look at it. Not taking much at all. And just a quick zzz. And I could look down there. And if I still saw a little edge, I went back and did another zzz. So this is flat. I don't know if there's enough light there, and I'm looking through safety glasses, so I really can't tell. This grooved out really nice. You can see up in the adjuster hole there. I hope you can. That we got a nice surface there. Be good oiling on this. Let's go ahead and groove this other side out. You're not taking a huge amount out of there each time, but it does make a difference. I think we'll take one more pass and flip it. Okay. I don't know if we had an uneven bottom there or if there were spots that got hardened from heat. And you can see the sparks pick up and dial back, and I can see a couple spots down there right in here. Let's see if I catch it on this pass. Yeah, there's a hard spot in there. It's all shiny at this point, and mostly straight. Nice thing about not having the bar tip on right now is I don't have to worry about bunging up those teeth. Where I place the camera, I do have to worry about hitting you guys. Okay, so out at the tip, things aren't worn so bad. But then as you go down, That's pretty ugly. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to level this a little bit. Okay, so the rails are mostly flat except for areas that there's lots of damage. Something like that, I'm not going to spend the time to grind that out. And I'm not set up to weld and fill that either. So what I'm going to do is probably 4 or so more passes and see where we're at. And probably call this side good. I say, that's not perfect. Still got some chip in there. Got all those rough spots right there. But after that, it looks pretty good. So, in my opinion, if I use this on a saw that has a good automatic oiler that keeps everything lubed up, I'm not going to have a problem. Let's see what this other side turns into. I'll rotate just a little bit. First pass always tells you what you need to know. Okay, this would have been the top of the bar. I can almost guarantee that. Other than that low spot right out there. Right there. The rest of this, you can see on that first pass, the majority of the rail up and down is shiny. This won't take as much. Normally I don't have a problem with this thing rocking, but I'm trying to keep it out of the rain and keep the camera out of the rain. Alright. So we've got it smooth out at the tip. And it's not until we get to the middle of the bar that we see some damage. Ow, what the hell. I can take 2 more passes off of this. I can live with that. It is not perfect, but it is good enough for what and who it's for. See you guys back at the workbench. Okay. So I mentioned we would put a new tip on there. Let's go ahead and do that. I gotta get this tape loose. I think I mentioned this too, that I want to paint this bar And use a McCulloch stencil. I mean, I'm not trying to make it perfect. You're going to know that it's not a McCulloch bar because McCulloch used this. I don't know what kind of texture this paint is. Kind of cool. It's not the Hammer. Oh God, I can't even remember the name of that brand. Hammerite or whatever it is. It's not that. But anyway, so I'm not worried about painting the bar before installing this, and quite frankly, that would be a real miserable ordeal to paint a bar and want to install a new tip without bunging up the paint, the new paint on that. So, yeah. Even though this is an Oregon new tip, it's not going to look like it when I get done. And I really am glad I saw where that rivet dropped when this paint or tape let go. Okay. So this is probably as simple as you've already seduced the facts to be. Slip that in there, and if I bought the right one, they all line up. And gee, what do you know? I bought the right one. Alright, I had to take my gloves off, but you do want to be damn careful handling this, especially freshly ground, at any time, but even freshly ground, there's a nice edge there again that I need to take a flat file and just buzz right off. You guys have seen me do that before on the channel. So I'm going to see if I can be smart and get all 3 rivets in, and then we'll peen them over. And even these new rivets have the nice divot. I love saying that, rivet divot. So that if this was ever to get replaced again, it would be easy to drill them out. Now, I don't see that happening. And I just lost every single one of those rivets because I can't feel anything through these gloves. So, that was cool. Yes, I could use a little spot of grease to hold those in place. I'm going to be stubborn and see if I can make this work. Because that's what I do. Bite me, bar. Alright, watch your ears. Okay, those are not done. Those are not nearly flat enough. I can catch my hand on it. But now that they're in place, we're going to finish pounding them down. If I can stay out of the camera. Almost. All right. Not bad. That's enough racket making. Obviously, when you're doing that, you want to try real hard not to hit the rail because you'll break it. And And by real hard, I mean just don't do it. Alright. Again, this is not 404, but it's a piece of 63 gauge. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought one of my smacks came too close. That's binding right there. Not terribly. Well, no, that is terrible. That is completely terrible. So we need to widen that back out. And I'm going to do that the inappropriate way and use one of my screwdrivers as a chisel. See if that got it. I don't want to get carried away here. Oh yeah. Yep. That's catching on paint in there right now, I think. Paint on the tip, and that'll wear out real fast. Let's see what the other side looks like. That one I don't think I nailed. That'll drop right in. Yeah. Yep. So maybe, yeah, well, it looks the same as the other side. I think there's just a glob of paint. So you can see that with the wrong pitch chain, nope, ain't not gonna wrap around there, but that's okay. We know that. I got that roll of chain coming. My OCD's not gonna let that paint stand. We're gonna make this fit smooth. I have to do this sometimes when I close rails and roll them just a smidge too tight. I think we're okay. Alright. Man, I'll tell you, I love this new tripod. Allows me to do so much that I didn't do before. So there we have it. We have taken what was a Husqvarna bar, cleaned all the rust off of it, ground a lot of damage off of it, grooved it out, enlarged the slots so that they will work on a McCulloch Super Pro 125. All that's left to do is paint this, but that's going to come at a different time. So we'll end this video here. I hope this is helpful. As bars get harder to find for the older models, we got to be smart and use what's available today. So here's a good example of making one work. Catch you on the next video.